So today I want to talk about why it's been so helpful for me as a yoga teacher to have alignment principles to work with rather than just practices. So let me explain, and I hope this will be helpful to you, whether you are a yoga teacher or a practitioner or anyone who wants to understand how to relieve your own aches and pains and support healing on every level in your body and your mental, emotional body, it's called in Ayurveda, your energetic body and your spiritual body. So I hear a lot as a yoga teacher, what pose would be good for, back pain, wrist pain, neck pain. And I certainly don't mind suggesting some poses. But the problem is that for most poses, we can be doing a lot of different things within them that will be so different on the scale from, healing to hurting that, we could actually be making things worse. Without realizing it. And so the practices that often are recommended, let's say for low back pain, have to do with movement, right? And it's true, whenever we get stuck, whenever we're sort of rigid in any physical area, chances are bringing a little movement to that area will help. And why does it help? Well, prana, circulation, life force, however you want to identify it. Some people think of it as consciousness plus breath, right? So prana flows through that area in a different way, in a way that probably is better than it was if you have been in pain. However, let's say you have some kind of a pattern in your body for the low back. Let's say you flatten your low back and you're doing some pose and it might feel good. And then you do the next one and you kind of move into your pattern. Well, now you're doing yoga to actually hurt yourself rather than heal. The fun thing with alignment is, and I am an alignment geek. I started out by studying cadavers, thinking, well, maybe this will teach me things. I was with some pre-meds and it didn't. But I got my master's in kinesiology and I had something like 10,000 hours of alignment training when I was certified in 2006 in an alignment-based yoga called Anusara. But, the cool thing with, understanding alignment is that it doesn't have to happen on the mat. So you can be driving and healing your low back, and you can be on the mat and hurting. So alignment isn't like a should, like, kind of like you have to do this. It's not posture, right? Many of us heard, oh, sit up straight. It's not about that. It's really about a reminder that we are free in any moment to align with, well, whatever we want to. So we can align in such a way that will support the flow of prana, life force, energy, communication between the systems of the body, neural connections, all of that. We can align to support that. Or we can align with stress. We can align with a limiting thought. We can align with an idea about ourselves that is kind of a small version of ourselves. We can align with fear. Or we can align with our inner wisdom, with our power, with the current of nurturing energy so that we might feel like we're receiving, so that we're not getting depleted. We're just giving, receiving. So we're free and we can choose to align. In other words, we can ask ourselves, with this breath, what direction do I want to go? And with this breath, what do I want to step into? Okay. And so what does an alignment principle look like? Well, I mean, a principle is something that is always true, right? So an alignment principle has to do with, on a physical level, where the muscles and bones kind of want to go toward. And we all have a sense of this instinctively, right? So your shoulders, they round forward, the chin juts out, and we know probably nothing good is going to come from this position, right? We're going to get tension. You can feel, if you want to do that right now, you can touch your trapezius popping out of your shoulder, right? So there are some that are super obvious. And then there are others that most of us, even yoga teachers, have not been taught. I would say 98% of the world has not been taught a simple way to relieve low back pain. That is always true. Now, obviously, if there is something that isn't musculoskeletal, like a tumor or an inflammatory autoimmune thing or something, there could be something else. But generally, our achy, tight, low back issues have to do with moving away from optimal alignment, away from how the spine naturally curves. And so alignment is going to have to do with moving the bones and muscles back to what is natural. Now, as you can see from Skeleton Bob, in the low back, we have a curve in. It's just natural. That's what we're born with. And if you think of these as like beads stacked up on top of each other, and there's this little space in between, there's a disc there for a cushion, those fit optimally when they have this curve. When they don't have the curve, they start to squish. They squish the little cushion in there, it starts to move, it pushes into the nerve, and we get some nerve pain maybe running down our leg. But even long before we hit that nerve, as we move out of alignment, the muscles start to grip, and other muscles kind of lose their stability, their strengthening action, because they're kind of being pulled on. And so for just a very simple way to, let's say, relieve your low back pain, what you want to think about is pressing your thighs back to create a curve. Pressing your thighs back to create a curve. Okay, so if you're standing, if you're sitting, whatever it is, place your hands on the tops of your thighs and push the bones toward the hamstrings. You might even feel, even just doing that little action, a little lengthening in your lower back. Because when we return to that curve, it lengthens. You can do it in absolutely any position. Let's see if I can do it with my microphone. But if you are in hands and knees, you can press the tops of your thighs back and make more of a curve. So when you have an intention to heal, to thrive, to move with ease, to experience yourself as a free being in body, mind, and heart, place that intention in the tops of your thighs and press back. Once you have the curve, you can root down, you can extend out, you can do whatever else you want to do in the pose. But this is one of 5 principles. I have found them so incredibly helpful that I call them the 5 sacred steps. And it's just a taste of it. But if you do want to learn more about this alignment and the 5 sacred steps, I would love to have you join us in our community. You can take a free class and begin to learn in your body. If you're interested in getting trained, we have teacher trainings. But even just knowing, just a little bit about pressing the thighs back rather than allowing them to move forward, flattening the lower back, tucking the tailbone under. All of that is going to lead to pain and suffering. And I love helping people out of pain and suffering. So I hope this is helpful to you. And I hope to see you in class or in the comments below. And thanks for watching.